We live in a world where we're constantly surrounded by cameras. They're on the streets, in transport, and sometimes even in our home. That can be great because it's much easier to catch criminals red-handed, but there's a downside too. Every strange, ridiculous, or dumb thing we do is recorded for everyone on the internet to see. Ready to take a look? Let's get it on. You can never really tell who or what's on the other side of a door. This pizza delivery guy thought he was doing a routine delivery. That changed pretty quickly when the door was opened by a monkey. The monkey seemed pretty unfazed by the whole thing though. He just paid and carried on with his day. The delivery guy, on the other hand, would be questioning his sanity for the rest of his life. There are some videos that defy explanation, and this is definitely one of them. These guys are doing exactly what it looks like. They're trying to get their horse in an elevator, and sure enough, they do get it in, and then they take it straight back out again. Why? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe they wanted to practice dressage in their apartment or build a high-rise farm. One thing's for sure, that girl's definitely going to have a hard time explaining what she saw. Danger lurks around each and every corner. You need to be on your guard, even if you're just going for a quick drive with your child. You never know what might happen. This man forgot for only a second that he was in a danger zone. Next door's turkey hadn't forgotten about him though. Right at the moment he was most relaxed, it appeared to cause havoc. I've never seen someone get in their car so quickly. Have you ever noticed how boring it is at work when business is slow? You're there every day and nothing ever changes. That is until a wild pig runs in through the door. Then suddenly nothing's boring anymore. You'll have loads to think about, such as why is it here? How do we get it out? How do I stay well out of its way? How much will it cost to fix that glass door? That's definitely not just another day at the office.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
It's often the little things that trip people up. All this guy wanted to do is throw the chair in the dump. Sure, that skip is high, but it shouldn't have been too hard. And yet, the mistake he made was forgetting the chair had legs that were in between his very own. I agree, dude. Just stay down and hope that nobody can see you way down there on the floor. There are two traits that all children have that combine to give parents a hard time. Firstly, they're creative. And secondly, they can't spot a dangerous situation if it's staring them right in the face. So, good luck if you're a single parent with two kids, because you can't take your eyes off either one of them for a second. Otherwise, you might just find one of them hanging from the garage door. This mom has some very fast reflexes. No matter how big and strong someone is, or what experiences they've had, everyone has a weakness, and oftentimes it's the last thing you'd expect. This police officer has probably seen a few terrifying things in his time, and he would never think to run away from them like a little girl, but put up a little mouse in front of him, and you'll see a very different side of this seasoned burly cop. The movies make art theft look like the most complicated form of criminal activity, but that's only because they haven't seen this guy. He fumbles around with that painting for only a moment before he decides that it'll probably be easier to just walk out of the gallery with the painting under his arm in full view of everyone. And it worked. Well, it would have worked if he'd been clever enough to realize there was a camera recording his every move. People get called paranoid if they're always looking over their shoulder, but the thing is, sometimes you regret not glancing behind you every now and then. Luckily for this man, he glanced back right at the last second. He almost missed the huge moose with one antler coming up behind him. He sure was quick to react when he finally saw it though. He disappeared into that shed before the moose even had time to realize what had happened. Sometimes kids are up to no good, and because of that, it's always good to keep an eye on them. These kids were totally unsupervised while they were running and playing in this museum, and they might have gotten away without any trouble if this 5-year-old hadn't decided to hug an unassuming sculpture. He surprisingly manages to pull it over. We all saw that coming. What nobody expected is the price of the artwork. That's a $132,000 sculpture. I'm just glad that wasn't me. Thieves and vandals beware. Many houses have cameras watching you now. So, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. This guy let the camera catch his face before picking up the brick. This is no ordinary story of a thief being caught on camera. It's a story of a thief experiencing what real payback feels, like when a brick he threw at the car bounces straight back at him. Sometimes you just have to go all in. We've all been there at least once in our lives. This bear was looking for food around a German restaurant when it had to make that decision. It could have taken scraps out of the bins, sure, but it figured it was much more effective to just take the bins with it instead. I definitely agree with that logic. Just wheel 2 bins away. Job done. Now all the scraps belong to him. Accidents happen, but some are really unnecessary. This delivery guy clearly knows there's a door there, and he even reaches out to grab the handle as he gets close. Then he just goes straight through it. How do you run through a glass door anyway? Most don't just smash like that, and he obviously tried to open it because he stands in all the broken glass holding the handle afterwards. It doesn't help to look at the ceiling, dude. Everyone knows it was you who did that and not some invisible ghost above your head. We all like to pretend we're well-adjusted, but secretly, we're all waiting for some strange supernatural thing to happen to us. It probably never will, and we know that, but this guy definitely thought that moment had finally come when this strange thing happened. It's actually a whole lot of oil oozing out of the ground, not a puddle of ectoplasm or a gateway to the underworld. Then again, I don't really have a good explanation about why it happened. Being a policeman is hard work. You can find yourself in dangerous situations where you have to keep your eyes open to keep other people safe as well as yourself. But that doesn't mean that you can let your guard down once you get back to the station with your suspect. Otherwise, this will happen.
My question is, what the hell?
That guy picked the perfect moment. He sprinted out of the tiny opening with the best display of speed limbo you've ever seen in your life. And that's not something you see every day. Every pet owner knows that animals are always up to something. The cat videos all over the internet speak for themselves, but as this dog proves, it's not just cats who like mischief. This dog decided its owner's fluffy hood was an ideal toy, and he didn't care if the hood was still attached to her. Luckily, she seems to think it's even funnier than the dog does. People have known for centuries that the cuter something is, the easier it'll get away with things. But you don't have to be the cute one to use that to your advantage. A toddler's cute, so nobody would suspect that his dad is a secret laptop thief. It's a well-considered tactic, and it would have worked too, if he hadn't been dumb enough to forget that he's in the 21st century. All stores have CCTV cameras now, plus he shouldn't have tried to steal in the first place. The best hotels treat anyone who stays with them as a proper guest, but nobody wants a guest who's going to randomly start destroying all their stuff. This girl clearly thought it was funny to destroy this amazing sand sculpture. She was wrong. She didn't realize the hotel had cameras of its own. They posted the video, and even though she very likely thought it was cool, everyone who saw it probably thought otherwise. Ice really can make life so much more difficult. This delivery guy clearly knows that. He has a whole method for dealing with it. While he's struggling with the ice, the owner's talking to him from the garage, telling him to just leave the package out there, but the driver's having none of it. He's got a plan to deliver that package to the door as he promised he would when he took on the job. It takes some careful positioning and a bit of fancy footwork, but soon enough, the parcel's spectacularly delivered into the hands of its rightful owner. Ice can be pretty dangerous, but sometimes the main danger is embarrassment. This girl just couldn't get up the tiny incline on this icy street. She's lucky enough to be helped by a man who comes to her rescue. It could almost have been a Prince Charming story, except no amount of help was getting her to stay on her own 2 feet, so he just gave up and left, and it didn't get any better from there. I bet she slid all the way home.